one person for a voting quorum, so we will postpone those items till the end, and hopefully somebody else will join us in order to do those votes. Otherwise, what we'll have to do is we'll just have to carry them to the next meeting to vote when we have an actual. Okay, first things first is roll call. I'm Jackie Julian with Port Tampa Bay Environmental, and to my right is
Joe Gross, Hillsborough County.
Bill Wilkerson, FDP. Michael Guile, EPC of Hillsborough County.
May Bryant, Army Corps of Engineers, Tampa Permitting Section.
and then in the back. In the back.
Hello, City of Tampa.
I stand the picture with the Valerian.
Will Rushing, Hillsborough County Citizen.
Heather Maggio with the City of Tampa staff.
Sean College, River Board and Planning Commission. Diego Guerra, Planning Commission staff and staff's the River Board, and then we have a couple on.
Online, if you want to take turns.
Yeah, Larry Levis here with Haskell Company.
Anybody else online?
Tony Monk, Parks and Rec.
Any others online? Hearing none. Okay, great. Next, we will do the Pledge of Allegiance. Oh, we had one more walk-in.
Amber Strickland.
I am for.
Okay, Pledge Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All right, next. Is there any public comment to bring before us? Okay, hearing none. Next would be review and approval of the previous meeting summary. Does anybody have a motion for approval or otherwise?
Move to approve the agenda.
Thank you, Michael. Any seconds? Wonderful. Thank you so much. August 19th, 2025, previous meeting minutes are approved. All right, and then we are up for our presentation by the City of Tampa for the West River Walk extension.
Hi, I'm Nina Mavino with the City of Tampa, and I'm the project manager for the West River Build project that's commonly referred to as the West River Walk because it's actually 5 miles, roughly 5 miles long, and includes complete streets, et cetera. But of course, the River Board's interested more in what's happening directly across along the river. Samantha Fenger here is with our public, she's our public information officer, yeah, I know, public information or coordinator, let's put it that way. And online here, we have Larry Levis with our design build team, Haskell, and he's actually going to give the presentation remotely.
I would give the presentation if I were able to share and present in teams, but it says that only presenters and organizers can do that, and I don't have the ability to share my screen.
Go ahead.
I brought my laptop, but I don't have it hooked up. Unless you want me to just
There we go.
plug it in here.
You should be able to present now.
Go ahead and share your screen, and I don't know who's controlling the volume, but that is a little hard to hear. And Tony Monk with the Parks Department, he's working with us for all the off-road segments, trail and parks, etc.
Can you see this well enough?
Not yet.
1 second. We are adjusting the volume.
Okay.
Okay, are you sharing your screen now?
We were seeing it online a minute ago. We're just working on in-room issues.
Okay.
Yeah, if you want to share your screen, Larry.
We saw his face.
It was up for a second.
Yeah, I thought I was. I'll do it. Right. Let's share the desktop. Let's see if that will work.
We see your calendar now,
Hmm. Hmm.
somebody's calendar.
I'll leave on his,
Different monitor.
different.
How about, yeah, that's a different monitor. So let me go to the desktop.
Oh, it's on for a second there. There it is.
Hmm.
So just move your presentation over to your other screen.
Yeah. You have.
Yeah, this is on my laptop.
Oh, okay. So if you
We
click
saw your
on,
blue screen for a second. there.
yeah, if you click on share on the top right of Teams, you can select the presentation from the
Yeah.
drop-down menu.
Open up. There you go. Loading.
We got it. Thank you.
Very good. Okay, so Nina and Sam, chime in. This is the abridged version. I think your board has seen the original concept, call it, with the video and all the animations of different areas along these six segments, actually. But today, the purpose is really to give you an update on the timing and where we are in the process and where we're going. Not so much to recast the presentation. I think you've seen already. Is that correct?
Yes, it's a lot, couple of years ago.
So this is just an overview of the beginning of what we call segment one, which is the Platt Street Bridge, and you can see the underpass, which is the Platt Street underpass, which is truly the connection at Columbus Park there on the left, and the beginning of the journey up the river. And this is a view of what bridges are going to feel like. This is a view under the Platt Street Bridge. There are these little moments on either side, one on either side of the overpass, where you can have a little Instagram moment, a little piece of getting off the main thoroughfare. Not advancing, let's see.
Segment one will pick up at the north end of the existing Bayshore Boulevard Trail, south of Platt Street at the Columbus Statue Park. Pedestrian underpass under the Platt Street Bridge, and go through Tony Janice Park temporarily along the seawall, but ultimately arching through that park. But via, as you're aware, is going to be widening their Selman Expressway as well. And then there's another pedestrian underpass under the William Street Bridge next to here.
And that whole area is in green. And then, yeah, Nina, you can talk about the area between the Brewery Street Bridge and Kennedy and what's happening there with the joint development.
Yeah, there's currently a gap between our existing river walk that ends at the south side of the WFLA next to our property. And the city is talking to them about that. They have a condition in their old DR, it's either a DRI or rezoning that for the river walk on their property. But we've been having some communication issues, let's put it that way. So, and just north of them, you have the related group that used to be the Lafayette parcel, so just south of Kennedy Boulevard Bridge. And they're supposed to be starting summer of 27, perhaps. We're coordinating with them as well. They're going to be developing towers along Kennedy Boulevard, west to east. And then they're going to put a river walk on their property frontage and another pedestrian underpass under the Kennedy Boulevard Bridge, which they are currently having FDOT review because Kennedy Boulevard is a state road, but the river bottom belongs to the city. For that particular bridge, the pilings were already installed underneath the bridge, so they're going to use those and then build north and south of them, ultimately connecting to Plant Park there. and what the where there's an existing brick plaza currently. And then our segment 2 starts at that brick plaza and goes northward on the University of Tampa campus. There.
Okay. Yeah, this is the last we'll see the map, so. Yeah, so this is the way the bridges are being constructed right now. They're in permitting, advanced permitting and in-water permits. That's the Brolene Bridge, just north of the Bird Rookery. In the area, yeah, the area that Nina was just describing in front of that private property and apartments.
But the
This is
city has
typical.
an easement for the river walk along the seawall. Go ahead.
So the trail design's a little bit different as it goes through this 1.5 miles as it picks up. But there are certain areas where we will have living shoreline, a total of 1,500 lineal feet throughout the project. And where that happens, the toe of the slope will extend no more than 30 feet into the river with a riprap, and then there will be some encouragement of mangrove. And I think you've seen other examples of living shoreline on the east side of the river. So Sam has done an excellent job keeping the public informed. And I'll turn it over to you, Sam, for a couple of slides.
We do have our next public meeting scheduled for October 16th. Is that right, Larry?
Yes.
And when he tells you about the website later, that alert for the meeting will be on the website. It's going to be in the evening at Alula Baptist Church over in the West River area.
If any one of you has used the app for the project, but it's been up and running for a few months.
You can get that on your mobile phones as well as go to it on the internet. It's www.westriverbuilds.com. And there's multiple tabs there with maps, explanations, frequently asked questions, an alert site. And once construction starts, which is probably mid-November, particularly on the living shoreline near the Platte Street Bridge, there will be construction updates and detours and everything, all that.
So as we just mentioned, the in-water permitting is continuing quite well. The bridges and underpasses we anticipate will be fully permitted by the first quarter of next year, and we've already received the living shoreline permit. So that's encouraging, and that leads us into the sequential construction starts, as Nina just alluded. Segment 1 demo, mid-November. Segment 1 is the Tony Janet's Park. And the living shoreline south of the Platte Street Bridge, there's a little section there just between the Platte Street Bridge and Columbus Park. That's where we will start in early December. And then segments 2, 3, and 6, January or February start date. And again, this is just a sequential flow. Segment 4, Rome Avenue, and the bridges would be beginning in February and March after we get the permitting, and segment 5 in May and April. Segment 5 we didn't talk about much, but it's a little piece that's in concert with Hillsborough County up at the corner of Rome. So that's where we are. That's the update of the project and the schedule. Any question?
Larry, you did receive the permits from EPC with the manatee restrictions for time of year, correct? For most of the living shoreline?
Correct.
Those were just approved week or so ago,
Mhm.
September 8th. And Haskell's returning requests for additional information back to some of the permitting agencies today.
Right, that's part of this, bridge and underpasses and overlook, which we anticipate will take a little bit more time, but yeah, we're in the thick of answering and responding to the various agencies.
Yeah, in addition to the two underpasses at Platt and Rory, in between those, right off of Tony Jennings Park, there's gonna be a three-sided overlook. Larry, do you know off the top of your head how far that projects past the seawall? Was it 40 feet or so?
About that,
Yeah, maybe 30 or 40.
35 feet to the outside railing.
And so that's gonna be integrated into the ultimate park configuration. We are gonna have a temporary trail, if you will, along the seawall where there's an existing 10-foot trail. It's gonna be widened to 15 feet. But THEA has offered to build the park on their property under their elevated facility because their project's not gonna be done until 2030, although we should be done in 2027. And they said, we're just gonna rip up what you installed, so they offered to do that. And that's part of their Southern Expressway widening, which is why we have the temporary facility along the river. And when we coordinate with THEA, we'll be talking about protection for facility, pedestrians, et cetera. Not that they won't have to close it, perhaps intermittently, but we're not gonna have it closed for any long duration period of time.
Wonderful. Hey, Larry, could you change it to the main overall view of all of the different segments? Thank you. So for everybody that's here, so this is the THEA Expressway. It's the last project on our review right now for this meeting. And so Tampa Expressway, THEA for short, is proposing to widen the interior gap between the existing expressway bridge that crosses over Hillsborough River. There is also 3 segments that the application is in review right now with the port for the 3 southern segments that she was explaining. Along Tony Jannus down here, there's an overlook that's going to be over here. And then there's going to be an underpass that goes to the north side of the Growing Street Bridge. So all those southern 3 segments are under review right now with the port as well as the THEA Expressway expansion. And then the living shorelines that they were expressing, 2 of those projects are also on our list today that the EPC did living shoreline hybrid permits. And those are Blake High School and then Tampa Prep up here.
Tampa Prep is just north of that little jog. You know, you see the little box down closer to the south.
Okay, all right, you got it, Larry, you point.
Mhm.
Below where it says
Yeah,
two, that's Cass Street, where it does not go under the Cass Street Bridge because there's a railroad bridge there as well, which is quite low. So we're crossing Cass Street across the roadway. And then as you move north along Tampa Prep, the north end of Tampa Prep, which is adjacent to the south end of Julian B. Lane, there'll be some living shoreline. And then once you pass Julian B. Lane and go under the interstate, there'll be more living shoreline along Blake High School near the bend in the river.
Yeah.
And those areas cumulatively make up about 1,500 feet.
Wonderful. I think that helps when you were talking, explain where all these were located.
And I don't know if you're aware, but adjacent to Stewart Middle School, see where the orange line, which is segment 2, leaves the river and cuts over toward Rome Avenue, right? Near that bend, there's an existing swift mud conservation area and our trail is going to be west of that and east of Stewart. We have deeded property from the school board. So our 12-foot multi-use path is going to be adjacent to the swift mud conservation area and then turn and go inland across what used to be the old Yellow Jackets baseball fields, which are no longer there. And actually, I just heard, although I don't know the schedule, related group, which is going to has already leased the land from the city from our old Rome yard development, which is east of Rome, and it includes this triangular shaped parcel, if you will. They're gonna be starting development on that as well.
Yeah, they might be starting just south of the trail.
So our trail leaves the river. And there's two roads there. I don't know if you can see them. One is called Willow, which kind of dead ends here, if you're familiar with the area near Rick's on the River. Related Group is going to extend Willow to the south. And then so we're going to come from the east to that point. Related Yard in their development has a section of the Riverwalk on their property that has the same deadline that ours does, so we can have continuity. And we'll likely have a raised intersection there at Willow. And then once you get over to Oregon and the MLK Rec Center that belongs to the city, we're going to pick up again. And then segment 4, which is Rome Avenue, you can see where the pink line and the orange line intersect. That's Rome Avenue about Palmetto Street. Between the MLK Rec Center site and St. Louis/Oregon, it's St. Louis on the west and Oregon on the right. The Related Group is also going to be building a 12-foot multi-use trail on the east right of way of Rome. But otherwise, the rest of the project is going to be done by our forces.
Thank you. Does anybody have any questions?
So, can you go a little bit more into the seawall panels that are in the permit in terms of,
You mean the habitat panels?
the habitat panels?
Okay, there's
Yeah.
175 feet of habitat panels, which are proposed at the north living shoreline area near Blake High School, because the river gets quite deep there as you go around the bend. Go ahead, Larry, you want to elaborate?
Yeah, so it's an interesting design that is based on the University of Kansas professor has developed a business creating these lightweight concrete panels that look like mangrove roots and will look kind of aesthetic as you see them. They're in small panels and will come up nearly to the underside of the seawall cap and then disappear under the to about low tide height. And they are very conducive to the growth of sea life, oysters in particular, and other shell crustaceans. So I wish we had some images of similar projects that have been done with that type of habitat panel, but they are quite successful.
Otherwise, the existing seawall isn't going to be adjusted much, if at all. There's some minor weeping, spalling areas that they might be touched. And we just got the 100% plans for segment 1 in Tony Janice Park. And there have been talk about removing part of the seawall cap. I don't know where we stand on that yet. We just got the next to review. Some of the living shoreline, I think it's allowed to be up to 30 feet waterward of the seawall. And the regulatory agencies have requirements as to how high they are relative to mean high water. There's gaps, so manatees don't get trapped, etc. And some of the plantings may actually come over the seawall onto the public sides.
The existing photos of what we have out there now versus what your rendition will be. That might be nice to see pre and post.
The contractor, Haskell, is going to do video and maybe some stills of pre-existing conditions, more for restoration purposes. But we have some photos in particular different areas. We did have a little bit of subsidence in the seawall at that bend in the river from the 2 hurricanes we had last fall. But it's not going to be repaired as part of this project.
Does it need a repair?
Well, the river bottom is very mucky. And so we had at least, the width of your cell phone was at 4 inches subsidence in one of the caps. So there's a couple of panels there that probably have to get looked at, and we got some estimates, et cetera, but we weren't able to, at least today, get any emergency monies or anything like that. And the timeline on this project is very relatively strict. We have to finish all the federal construction work because they're contributing 24 million to the project by early 2027. And they had to do seawall report repair, depending how extensive, there's different permitting mechanisms, but it would greatly extend the timeline of the project. So
you got 24 million in federal dollars, and what's your total cost?
56.8, I believe.
The city's paying for
City
us.
contingency, so it's 24 million from the feds. The CRA just recently contributed 10 million, and the difference is like 16 million. So we have community investment tax, we have, city has different
City fund.
vehicles, including non-ad debt.
Does anybody have any other questions?
Yes. Where are you at with the core as far as the pedestrian bridge for segment 1?
Larry, can you respond to that? Army Corps permitting, aren't they one of the ones you're returning?
Yes.
requesting Additional information to today? So that
Yes, we
permitting
are.
has been reviewed. They asked for
we've
more
gone-
information.
Yeah, we're in the midst of responding to their initial round of comments, and we feel confident that, there's nothing controversial moving forward.
I think Clarissa Curley is our reviewer there.
Yeah, so you can email her directly the requested information, or you guys can use the RRS system. Are you familiar with that?
Yeah, Hassel's doing it on there. It's
Okay, awesome.
in the city's name. But yes. I imagine they're using the system, but you can also copy Clarissa if you want, Larry, when you make that something up.
Okay.
And I can answer for the port, the segment 1, southern 3 structures, walkways, those are in review, like I said, with the port right now. So those are under review as well. And I will be coordinating with the Corps and the state to make sure that we're all on the same page and moving along together on those reviews. Yeah.
We've talked to the different agencies, Fish and Wildlife, et cetera. The structures are all outside the navigable waterway, but the width of the river doesn't even allow for the standard, there's a buffer that they prefer outside the navigable waterway, but the seawalls are tighter than that, so. Yeah.
Yes. And for anybody, the first project on our list is the Blake High School shoreline stabilization work that Michael Giles' team reviewed. And then the very second one is the shoreline stabilization work in the Tony Janice to the north side of the Bryan Street Bridge, 3 segments on the southern end of the West River Walk. They are shown on the living shoreline plans for when we get there. Does anybody else have any questions? Otherwise, we'll probably get some maybe when we're reviewing the living shoreline project.
Can you email them over or everything?
Great, thank you. You may want to just hang out since we are going to talk about those other 2 associated living shorelines. Thank you so much for your presentation.
Thanks, Larry.
Thank you, Larry.
Okay, sure. I'll stop
All right.
sharing.
Yeah, if you don't have another obligation, Larry, you may want to remain as well.
Sure.
Because we're going to be talking about our minor permits.
All right, perfect segue. All right. Michael Guile, you're up. If you could give us a briefing on the first project 8701.
For the first one I have on mine is the 80562. Something like that backwards.
The first one is the package, these packets, 85062, I noticed.
Okay,
Gotcha.
all right. If you could just re-explain what project number you're working on since there's two different agendas?
Not a problem. So this is minor work permit 80562, which is currently valid, became valid September 8th of 2025. This is the living shoreline associated with the West River Walk that is located adjacent to, this one is Blake High School. So this is the only one out of the three that we're going to look at that has those habitat panels proposed. They were proposed within 18 inches of the existing face of the seawall out there. So the habitat panels were found to be compliant with the rule sets. As was stated, the total living shoreline structure will be about 30 feet from the seawall. For EPC's rule sets, we permitted it as a sill, essentially with the riprap protecting the new planting area that is going to be installed out there with the native shoreline vegetation. Any questions or comments on that one? On to the next then. So the next one in the list is 80701. This is going to be the one associated with, let me site plan. So this is the one associated with Janus Park. This one did not have habitat panels associated with it. And similarly, we permitted it as a sill. And it went out a maximum of 30 feet. Any questions on that one or comments? All right, and then the very last one, 80702, that is the living shoreline associated with Tampa Prep. Similarly, no habitat panels, 30 feet out and permitted primarily as a sill with a living shoreline planting area. Any questions or comments on that one?
Nobody do have a question regarding the one previous for the Tony Janus Park.
Yes.
So, on those plans, it does show a proposed walkway segment for the West River Walk and the one observational area.
Mhm.
Is it correct to assume that the segment at the south end of Tony Janus Park crossing over the living shoreline riprap structure, that it's supposed to be elevated above that living shoreline structure?
So for that, we did not include the pedestrian bridge within our authorization since it was being proposed for, since they noted that it was going to be permitted separately, we did not include it within our review. So theoretically, yeah, if it was, when it comes into us for permitting or comments, whichever one it is, we would request it to be elevated properly above the living shoreline area. But at least for now, we did not provide comments on it.
Larry, do you know if there's gonna be living shoreline below the Black
There will
Street
be,
Bridge
yeah, right
connections?
at the point where the north side of the Platte Street underpass meets the seawall, north of the Platte Street Bridge on Tony Janus Park, there will be some riprap under, but yes, there's sufficient clearance, but there will be some riprap underneath. And we were just having a conversation yesterday about sequencing of construction between the bridge piles, the bedding stone, and then coming back to build the bridge on top of that. That's not anticipated to be habitat at that point. That is where the rock or the riprap just sort of peters out, but some of it does occur under the bridge. The actual
Diego.
green zone, the planting zone is a little bit north of that, so.
Diego's pulling up the one sheet that kind of shows that,
Yeah.
right? Just bear with us.
Do you want to mention, Larry, the sewer structure that's gonna have a lower
yeah.
living shoreline.
So just north of that U-shaped projection, that pedestrian overlook, we're calling it, that that bifurcates the two zones of living shoreline. To the north of that structure is a piece, as you can see, of living shoreline. In the midst of that, there is a sanitary sewer vault, which you can see in this aerial. And that vault has an overflow weir, and that is being, as the 100% plans are developed now, that is being accommodated. So without changing the geometry, what would happen is there would be like a swath of 14 feet approximately that kind of bisects the middle of that northern section of living shoreline that would accommodate the overflow weir, and the stone would be graded accordingly and appropriately. And over time, not immediately, but over a few years, it's anticipated that the living shoreline green material would grow over and basically obscure that initial, what would appear to be like a little gap.
So the throat of this overflow structure from sanitary sewers that converge here, both from under the river, there's a subaqueous line. There's a structure that's base is this actual seawall with an overflow that did get utilized over the past hurricane events. And it's only 14 feet wide, so they're going to make modifications and lower the living shoreline there.
Yes.
And there's nothing here in the middle, if you will, of the overlook area, because there's also the stormwater out.
And do you anticipate any problems with having that riprap living shoreline installed before the overlook structure and the other over water structures piles are installed?
Here, there is no conflict. To the south, if you can look at the sheet that's just sequentially to the south, that's what your initial question was, is there some riprap that does? And yeah, so we're looking at the sequences as we speak between pile driving, placing of riprap, and then coming back to pour the bridges and do the precast bridge. There you go.
And the overlook area, which was originally conceived to be timber piles, et cetera, has been upgraded to.
Right, that's all concrete. It's all concrete pile. Both structures, all three structures.
Okay, great. Well, I'm sure I'll be getting comments from you guys when I process the 3 southern segments of the overpasses, underpasses, overlook structures.
Larry, the port may have the 60% drawings, and not that they're necessarily looking at structures like the city is,
Right.
with our owners rep, but you might want to get them the new 65% submittal, so they have the lease.
Yeah,
And that would be me, Larry, if you want to send it to me. Jackie Julian, or put it in the base camp project folder.
okay.
Does anybody have any other questions regarding the West River Walk, living shorelines? Hearing none, okay.
I have a unrelated, related question. Did the port authorize the marina for the related group south of Kennedy Boulevard Bridge? They have like a floating boat slip area.
The RWD,
Yeah, that's it.
not at this time.
Not this time. Just curious.
All right, last project on our list then is going to be minor work permit 25-007. And this is the Tampa Expressway Authority, TAC for short. Bridge expansion, interior bridge expansion. Diego, could you pull up at least, maybe like the first page? So we can show the location. Bear with us for another second while Diego pulls up the plans. Thank you, Diego. Okay, so this is a general area of the project and the abutting ownership boundaries. So this interior area between the existing eastbound and westbound bridge expansions on Solomon inside is what the expansion is going to be. They are not widening it on the exterior sides, only the interior area. They are gonna put additional support piles as well for the new bridge expansion. And it is going to have pieces of multi-use shoulder lanes for pedestrians, bikes, and other such. And the final layout for the bridge is going to be all basically, it'll look like one huge bridge span all the way across with the interior filled. Does anybody have any questions regarding the Selman Expressway expansion?
The design and build contractor is Archer West. And the city that owns the river bottom is also giving them a easement.
Good point. Yes. So we are working with the city of Tampa as well, as she said, due to the fact that the city of Tampa actually owns the sovereign submerged lands, Hillsborough River, at this location.
Our contractor and previous contractor are going to be coordinating, but we plan to start in October, November in that area. And the city via owns the property up here, their elevated facility on the land side, but the city has an easement, of course, we're subordinate to their work, and we anticipate starting next March, so there's going to be some coordination there too.
Yes.
And I understand that Hillsborough County is going to do some work on Class Street Bridge as well. I just know that. What's my mind?
And obviously, we're only focused, the port is only focused for this marine construction project for the segment of the bridge that's from the seawall to seawall over the river. But the whole segment goes much further beyond that small section. It goes all the way to the Gandy connection for Selman. So please just know that this review is strictly for just the Hillsborough River crossing segment, not the overall. Does anybody have any other comments, questions, concerns regarding the Selman Expressway?
Only other comments from EPC would be that based on our initial review, it appears like it's going to also require an EPC impact review. So we'll be, I believe, having a pre-application meeting with some of the folks about the project tomorrow morning. Meet with them about the impact meeting.
Wonderful, thank you.
Not a problem.
Any other questions or comments regarding the Thea Bridge expansion over at Hillsborough River? Okay, hearing none. Is there a motion for consistency recommendations for all 4 projects? Visually,
Move to final 4 consistent.
wonderful. Is there a second for finding all 4 projects consistent? Awesome. Okay, Swiftman has seconded. All 4 projects are being found consistent and recommended to the River Board. Thank you, guys. And
Gonna do yays and nays.
Is all in favor?
Oh.
Any opposed?
all in favor? Yay?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Nays? Okay,
That's unanimous.
thank you. Unanimous approval.
Just for the record, it's, that there's no one voted no.
I'll get better. All right, and then last item on our agenda is other business. The only other business that I had is a reminder of the Planning and Design Awards. Save the date for October 23rd, 2005 at 5:15 p.m. Tickets are officially on sale.
Remember Tico offered to post everyone here informed last meeting. Were you here?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, that is true. And if you have not attended one of these award banquets, I highly recommend it. It's great. And we're giving an award away, so it's always good to have more than 2 of us there to give the award away.
Yeah, so if you want to go and you haven't already told Joel Brown, let him know if you need his contact information. Diego can get it for you if you want to let him know that you'd like to join his table. He offered for all the TAC members to join his table.
Yes, and I already accepted.
I'll mention this Saturday is the Hillsborough River and Coastal Cleanup. It's 5 public sites. Participated in that, just like the other items. I think recommend.
Thank you so much for mentioning that. Forgot. Anybody else have any other business around the horn?
The only other thing is the next meeting will be the River Board will hold a meeting October 28th. And then the next TAC meeting is
November or something. That'll be your last meeting of the year.
Yep, because we don't know one in December.
so no TAC.
October.
Sure, November 10, no,
Well, October, no.
it would be November 18th, sorry.
Yeah, October is a River Board quarterly meeting.
Is that a joint or no?
Now, the only joint one is usually in April, right?
Okay, that was the last.
So there's.
So we don't have a TAC in October, just November. Okay.
That's usually how we do it, yeah. When we have a River Board, we've been scheduling where there's a river, the months where there's a River Board meeting, we do not have a TAC,
Gotcha.
except for the joint meeting in April. So next month, as Diego said, is the River Board. November, you will have a regular TAC. And then everybody has December off till January.
Where did the year go?
I know, right? And did you guys, we held that, follow-up River Board meeting, because there wasn't a quorum for the.
We did,
joint.
we did it on August 26th. The River Board did vote to present or recognize the Friends of the River
For their award.
For their award.
Wonderful.
So they will be recognized, and Dr. Brown will be one of the recipients representing the organization. So you get to see him again.
Amber was a dedicated TAC member, came for that 5-minute meeting.
That's you.
Thanks for coming.
I don't even know if it was 5 minutes, yeah.
Sorry, we tried to let everybody know, but apologize.
Well, any other last call for comments? Anybody online? Okay, hearing none, we are adjourned. Everybody have a great rest of your day.
Thank you.